International Student Services for 8.5 years now in U.S. higher education. I have, fun fact, I've lived on 4 different continents. I have lived in Italy and Ecuador and Japan and in 5 different U.S. states. And I also speak Japanese. So if any of you are Japanese speakers, feel free to speak Japanese with me once you get to campus. And now I'll let my colleague Janice Watson introduce herself.
Good morning. I am Janice Watson. I've been working at Wesleyan for 20 plus years. Welcome to the session today. I will add to just some reminders or some housekeeping things that we can start off with. You can also put your questions in the chat as we go along. And when we get to the end of the presentation, we will review your questions and respond at that time. And on to Dari.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dari Jagdisuran. I'm an Assistant Director of International Student Engagement. I've been at Wesleyan since May 2023, so it's just a little over 2 years. And welcome, Class of 2029. I'm really excited to meet you.
Great. All right. Well, we'll jump into our presentation. It's a fairly short one, but hopefully some helpful information here. And as Janice mentioned earlier, we'll take questions at the end. We want to start with this infographic from the Student Exchange Visitor Program that provides a little bit of an overview of some of the different steps that you need to complete to come to the United States and establish your F1 or J1 visa status. The key, probably most of you at this point have already you've received your Form I-20 from Wesleyan from our office. You've paid your I-901 CVIS fee, and the question is, have you now completed the process of obtaining your F1 visa? If you have not, it's important that you're communicating with our office about where you are in that process, and we've been doing email outreach to you, so you've probably received emails, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. We're also going to talk a little bit about that step 5 of arriving to the U.S., so entering the U.S., and what that process will be like for you. And then there's a mandatory requirement once you get to Wesleyan, the CVIS check-in, in which we're going to need to collect certain documentation from you so that you can establish your F1 status and then maintain it during your studies here at Wesleyan. So this is just a infographic overview of all these different steps, and you can also find this on our website. Let's move on to the next one. Great. Okay, a little bit about your F1 visa, which I think sometimes can be kind of a confusing thing. Just to make it clear to you all, and if you've already received your F1 visa, then you know what it looks like. It is a stamp in your passport. It kind of looks similar to your biographic page in your passport with your photo and different information. But a key thing for you to know is that your F1 visa is an entry document. It's something that you need to be able to enter the United States, and it always needs to be valid anytime that you are outside the U.S. and trying to come in. So if it expires while you're here in the United States studying at Wesleyan, which it may very well happen, that's not a problem. That doesn't mean that you're out of status and you have to leave the U.S. immediately. The key thing we want you to understand is that it functions like a key, and it needs to be valid anytime that you're outside the U.S. and entering. It is really important that you update us on where you are in the process of obtaining your F1 visa. Many of you have already done that. You've emailed us, you've sent us a copy of your F1 visa stamp. But if you've not been in communication with us about where you are in the process, please do send us an email to ois@wesleyan.edu and provide us an update. One other small thing, I don't think we have any citizens of Bermuda in the incoming class, but if you are a citizen of Canada, this whole F1 visa thing does not pertain to your situation. You are, I guess, a lucky group who don't have to do the process of obtaining an F1 visa. However, you will need your Form I-20 for entering the U.S. and your other immigration documents. And when you get here, you will be studying an F1 visa status.
Okay. And as Morgan said, many of you have been in correspondence with us and provided us your F1 visa document and or other information. But if you have not been able to schedule a visa appointment as of yet, or if your visa appointment is, you have one scheduled, but it's for the later part of August, so maybe after August 15th, please notify our office. We want to provide you with a letter that can support a request to ask for an expedited or an emergency visa appointment, that you may be able to obtain an appointment earlier so that way you can secure your visa. Um, and again, for those of you who have already had your visa appointment, you know this information, but for those who have not, during your visa appointment, it is very important that you demonstrate the intent to return, that you're just coming to the United States to study, and then your intents are to return home, and you have to prove that you have strong ties still to your home country. So that's very important during your visa interview. If you have any questions about that, again, you can ask us and we'll try to give you some pointers, some tips as to how you can establish that strong tie connection to your home country. You can move to the next. As a part of your visa appointment, newly, they've started social media vetting. This is a required uh, step that they will be taking. It is important that, first of all, prior to your appointment, that all of your social media settings are set to public, so that they will be able to access them. Once you get to your visa appointment, you will go through the process of being interviewed. It's a short interview. It's not a long, excruciating anything. It's a short appointment that you will sit through. Once you complete it, different from what used to happen, you will not be given your F1 visa document on the spot. Everyone goes through the social media vetting. So what they do is they put your application, or your status for your application is now in administrative processing. And the purpose of that is for them to look over your social media accounts. It is not a refusal. I mean, I should say it is not a denial. It's just a temporary placing for them to review your information. After they review your social media information, then you will get the determination. Usually it happens pretty quickly. It's not a long drawn out process. It doesn't take weeks, but you will be notified of the results. If for some reason you do receive a denial after the social media vetting, it is very important that you immediately contact our office and provide us with a copy of the denial notice that they have given you. That is a very important step because we want to be able to help you to either reapply or to understand what happened, what we need to do to support you through the next step. Thank you.
So we had few recent developments in the last few months. So those include a lot of new fees. For example, we now have visa integrity fee of $250 that you must pay once your visa is issued. And after you depart the US, following the completion of your academic program, you can be reimbursed. You will be reimbursed by the US government. And then there is another fee called I-94 fee of $24. It's US entry record, and that entry record is very important for many of your benefits and applications, say to obtain to prove your status in the United States. And this is one of the documents you have to carry now with you at all times when you are in the United States. So you have to pay this fee. As part of your airline ticket. Then there is also shortened visa validity for some countries, and single entry also. So please check this information for your country on the US State Department's website. And about entering the United States. So most of you, you'll be entering the United States with your F1 or J1 visa, and the earliest you can enter the country is 30 days before the program start date. That is listed on page 1 of your I-20 or GS 2019 form. So new students will have two different statuses. Mostly it will be initial attendance if you are a new student, or transfer pending if you're transferring from a different US institution. And if you're transferring, then 30-day rule does not apply to your situation. Please make sure that you have all the requirement documents with you when coming through the port of entry. And here is a list, and you can also check our website, webpage specifically that says about travel, and you will see the list again there. And we will also send you some guidance document about electronic device search before you travel to the United States. But the main idea is that we really strongly recommend you to keep your electronic device out of sight. Even maybe it should be turned off when you're going through customs. And if sometimes you may be requested by the CBP officer to give your phone or computer or unlock it, and you cannot refuse this request because they could deny your entry to the United States. So please be on the lookout for this document in email soon.
Okay, so next phase of your journey here, hopefully everything goes well. You get your visa, you go through your port of entry at the United States, and you make it to campus. Our arrival period for international orientation, or what we call ISO, is Friday, August 29th and Saturday, August 30th. If you've been reading the WISON pre-arrival newsletters we've been sending you that have been very beautiful and great that Rai's been putting together, you should already be aware of these dates. But as you're planning to come to ISO, those are the two dates that we would need you to arrive to campus. There will be a mandatory session during our ISO that focuses on maintenance of your visa status, and so that will be an important one for you all to attend. And as we've said before, if you have questions about international orientation, you can just email iso@wesleyan.edu, and Rai or another member of our team will respond to your email.
Once you arrive safely here on campus and you have settled in on the third day or the final half day of ISO, there is an CVIS check-in that all F1 and J1 visa holders must attend. This is a step that is required for us to be able to verify your documents as well as to get you prepared for us to do what we call the CVIS registration. So as a part of that, you will need to submit to us copies of your immigration documents, which will be your I-20, and we need you to sign it. If you are over the age of 18, you need to make sure you sign page 1 at the bottom. If you've not already done so, please do that now. If you've already gone, to your visa appointment. If you are under 18, your parents will need to sign at the bottom, and there's a space underneath where your name is printed for them to sign. What, as a part of this session that you're going to be attending, you will need to upload documents. We recommend that you create a digital folder, either on your phone or on your computer if you have one, if you have your computer now, that you put copies of these documents in so that during the process you can quickly access them and we can complete the process soon. So those documents that you will need to upload into this digital folder are a copy of the signed I-20, a copy of your F1 visa document that's in your passport, and then a copy of the biographical page of your passport. Those are the 3 documents that you'll need. And you can create that folder now if you have all of those documents, or you can create it once you arrive on campus. But you won't, because you have to wait until you arrive on campus because you won't have your I-94 record until you enter the United States. But you can submit, you can create the folder with the other two to get a head start. Can move to the next slide.
Oh, okay. So I just want to mention one thing before I get to this slide. So those of you who signed for IBP program, you will be hearing from me today with your matches. And another thing I wanted to remind is that you are actually officially considered a Wesleyan student, and now you can access Wesleyan resources and services. And one of the things the Gordon Career Center staff members asked me to uh, delegate to you is that if you are interested in on-campus employment, you can now actually start working on your resumes and contact Gordon Career Center. We'll probably be sending you more information with the newsletter today, but you can work with them to get your resume approved, because to get a job, first thing is that here on Wesleyan is that you have to have your resume approved and then apply for jobs. Okay, this is just two short announcements. And then if you need any support or advice from us, please email us and let us know your availability. We can schedule a Zoom meeting with you. We work Monday and Thursday entire days from 8:30 to 4:30, 5 o'clock actually. And then on Fridays, we work half day until beginning of August. Okay, and thank you for being here. Any questions, we can answer those questions.
Yep. Thank you so much, Barry and Morgan and Janice. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and open your microphone, and you can also use our chat box to drop any of your questions. So we have a question here. Is driving in Connecticut prohibited using my home country driving license?
You are allowed to drive in Connecticut using your country driver's license. There is a limit of time that you can use that driver's license. I believe, I'm not positive, I'll have to check in the on the Connecticut DMV, and I can respond to you. Rai, could you just make a note of who that question is from, and then I can get the information and respond to them. I believe it's a year. I think you have up to a year to change over to the Connecticut to driver's license. There, I will say to you, there are a lot of requirements in order to obtain a Connecticut driver's license. There's a requirement where you must take a what they call a vehicular defense class type of thing, that you have to actually involve yourself in, as well as their all drivers who've not had a U.S. driver's license or a Connecticut driver's license must undergo training for driving. So it's like a permit before you even can establish a driver's license. Dari or Morgan has just put the information in the chat. So that's the link and the information that I was going to provide, but it's there. But there's a lot of requirements in order to obtain, but you are allowed to drive initially. I believe it's for up to a year that you have to change over.
I would like to add, yes, it is a 1 year, but if the driver's license is in a language other than English, you need to carry another document called IDP, International driving permit. This is in English and serves as a translation. And also, even if you drive without US license, you're still required to have insurance, auto insurance. So this is a big part. You cannot drive without auto insurance.
Thank you, Janice and Morgan. We have a question from Beatrice. I don't know if you covered that already, but what should they expect when they actually enter the US in terms of controls or questions in the border?
Well, it's a good question, Beatrice. We did share a little bit information earlier in the presentation about entry to the US, but w when you go through, you're definitely going to get the question of what is the purpose of your quote unquote visit? Why have you come to the US? What are you planning to do here? And so that should hopefully be a very straightforward question or very straightforward response for all of you as incoming students, explaining that you are going to be pursuing your undergraduate degree, bachelor's 4-year degree at Wesleyan University in Middletown, Connecticut. They may be asking you your destination, where are you going, what will be your address. So it's important to know those things. Um, those will definitely be probably questions that you're going to be asked. I don't know if anything my colleagues want to add.
I want to add that, like, usually you're supposed to complete a form, and then if there is a question about contact person, please try to put the name of the person who signed your I-20. It should be one of us. So this is also important to remember.
And I will also add that in our slide that we talked about when entering the US, try to keep all of your electronic devices out of sight. So don't have your cell phone in your hand as reach the border agent. Just have it tucked away, keeping in mind that you may be asked to present it. If you are, you must present it. You cannot refuse. That would be something else that you could expect.
And did they receive an information where it says that if there is any problem, they should be contacting PSAFE?
That information goes out to them closer to arrival.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Morgan, Janice, and Dari. But someone sent a direct message. Actually, I'm bringing my parents to ISO. Can they stay all throughout the period of the program?
Well, sure. Well, I can at least answer this question, and if others want to add their thoughts, they're welcome to. If your parents obtain if their um, passport is from a different country and they do the process of obtaining the visa to be able to come here, probably a B visa type, a tourist visa, um, then that's wonderful. And of course, they're welcome to come to ISO and come with you during the arrival period. There will be programming on the first day of ISO, September 1st, specifically for parents and family members who come with you. So we'll be sharing more information, I think, closer to ISO about what all those activities will be. Um, we usually encourage family members and parents to say farewell to you as a new student at the end of day one, so that you can then kind of focus on that transition on day two of ISO and beyond. That's typically what we recommend. But if your family's planning to stay beyond that and you wish to spend time with them, I'm sure you can find ways to do that. It's just important that while the ISO program is happening and while we have our CBIS check-in on that Wednesday, that you're attending all the different sessions.
Yep, and just like Morgan mentioned, we do have programming specifically for parents. So your parents or any guest that you have is welcome to participate or join you in your arrival here at Wesleyan. We have another question from Sandra. Any suggestions on buying US phone card at Wes? This is a good question, and actually, we do have a pre-arrival session with our ISO walls that will talk deeply about phones and bankings here at Wesleyan, but we can definitely provide, if any of our professional staff is open to providing an overview on how you set up a phone card here at Wesleyan.
Okay, I can just say that phone service can be very expensive in the United States, and it is very different than in most of the countries. So what we really suggest is that, and there are also many different providers you can choose, there are several, there is a prepaid, postpaid, depending, what kind of service you want, there could be different options. So what we really suggest to our students who do not have yet US phone number or card, that we have actually Mint Mobile, like temporary cards that will work only for 1 month, but this is probably something that's for you to get from us. Ask us that you want to get one, and then while having this temporary card, maybe you can have time to shop around, and really just get decided. But during ISO, we are also going to have a session with cell phone companies where they will come to you and introduce their services. So probably maybe it's a good idea not to hurry with deciding which US phone service you want to have at this moment.
Yes, and again, we do have a pre-arrival session happening next week, specifically on this topic. So feel free to join that. The information will be sent through our WISN issue that will be sent sometime this today, actually, later. And yeah, maybe you can ask our ISO walls which phone plan is the best to use here at Wesleyan. If you guys have any questions, again, feel free to use our chat and we can definitely cater to them. All right, I think we don't have any more questions here in the chat. Also, no hands. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. This is just our first pre-arrival session with specifically with our OISA professional staff. But again, as I've mentioned earlier, we do have two more pre-arrival sessions, and that will be with your international student orientation leaders. So they are current Wesleyan students who will be leading you and helping you throughout our ISO program. And we will be talking about phone plans, banking, money, housing here at Wesleyan, as well as the social life as an international student. So please make sure to read our pre-arrival newsletters. We still have three more issues to be released today and two in August. So we can't wait to welcome you here. Yeah, feel free to reach out to ISO at wesleyan.edu if you have any questions, if it's a visa or um, if it's visa related, please feel free to reach out to our professional staff at oasa at wesleyan.edu. Morgan, Dari, or Janice, do you have any um, things to leave our students?
No, I think everything you said, Rye, is right on. And we also are excited to welcome you all to campus. Fingers crossed that everything goes okay with, if you have not yet obtained your visa, please do communicate with us and update us. But very excited for your arrival.